Sterling Belikov Outdoors. Today we are looking at a firearm I've been very excited to share with you guys. This is the Mac 1014, or as a viewer helped me name it, Raguel. So guys, sometimes you end up going and recording stuff and things don't go as planned. I had somebody over at one of the bays next to me shooting. We've tried to clean up the audio. Wasn't really able to do it. In this clip, I'm basically talking about how one of my viewers, who is Laughing Jackal over on X, helped me come up with a name for my shotgun. We came up with the name Raguel, which is one of the avenging angels, supposedly, who is in charge of justice and enforcement of law. I'm talking about that, and I'm also talking about how Special Operations wanted the Benelli M4 as a special purpose shotgun, and you don't really get a chance to hear that. In a minute, you guys will see this section just get cut, and we're going to start with the shooting portion of it. I'm talking about how we've got like 500 rounds to burn through. All in all, this video ended up coming in with a round count of 570 rounds burned through the shotgun. No malfunctions, no failures to feed. Used by the Marine Corps and numerous other American Special Forces branches, as well as military branches of the United States Armed Forces. It ended up beating out some other semi-automatic shotguns, such as the Beretta and other Frankies that had been in service from the 70s and 80s. And in the early 90s, the Benelli ended up coming into service after going through a very, very rigorous testing process, more rigid and rugged than I would say some of the processes today are with some of the weapons that are being adopted. It was found to do extremely favorably in most all conditions and was used extensively in Iraq and Afghanistan. There's multiple stories of different units going and taking the Benelli M4 into urban environments using hills and doors. But some of those doors were about 6 foot tall and were wearing robes. So it was super effective, and most of the Middle Easterners did not like coming up against the shotguns. Just like in World War I, these guns were super effective, super accurate, and super deadly at close range. So, neat little things. Just like the Benelli M4, whenever you buy it, the Mac 1014 can come in this stainless finish, which is a Cerakote, if I'm not mistaken, that you can get from them. And it comes with a 5-round magazine cord that you then are able to change with direct Benelli parts. Unlike some of the other Benelli M4 clones that you see coming out of Turkey, these are almost a complete one-to-one clone of the Benelli M4. So almost all the parts are compatible, everything from the bolt to your receiver, to your barrels, to your sights. And this gun has actually went through a decent amount of change since I bought it. Like I said, initially it came with that import restricted magazine tube. I swapped that out for a full length 7+1 round capacity magazine tube. Went ahead, and a huge inspiration for me on this build was taking the old Winchester 1897 trench gun and modernizing it, making it something that a service member, whether they're Marine Corps or Air Force Security Forces that I worked alongside, would want in a close quarters combat scenario. So this one has where you can put a bayonet on it. We aren't going to be testing any of that today at the range. I ended up finding a heat shield for it. That already, I can tell you, has been given some issue. We'll be contacting the manufacturer over that because it likes to slide. We got some Tritium night sights on this. Those are absolutely solid. You hear a lot from law enforcement and those who've used them in line of duty. You've got white sights for daytime, green for nighttime with the tritium inserts, and we have a stream light on there. And other than that, guys, this is pretty much bone stock. So without doing too much more talking, let's go ahead and start busting out some buckshot. flip this back on safe, and let's start looking. Let's do it. Now, super interesting. If you played a lot of Call of Duty like I did, you'll know that this gun is actually hold 8 rounds and then 9 ghost loaded. If you don't know what ghost loading is, you take. So guys, right here, I'm kind of explaining how you go and ghost load, which for those of you who aren't familiar, ghost loading is whenever you take a round, put it in the chamber, you fully load your magazine, and then you've got another round on the follower, giving you an additional round as opposed to your just standard combat load. I'm kind of talking about how in Call of Duty you can kind of get your Benelli M4 up to 8 rounds and then a ninth round with ghost loading. Aren't exactly fit. And you can do a couple things to get around that, but I didn't find any kind of fix for a lot of the foreign made shotgun shells like the ones that we're using today from Monarch. Guys, this is a super reliable shotgun ammo that I found from Academy. You get really, really decent prices with the Monarch ammo. I've had good luck with it over at Academy, getting the 9mm 223 and 12 gauge. Thank you to everybody who sponsored these videos. I'm going to continue posting these once they get up over on X, where you guys vote for my firearms content. Those who vote, please keep continuing to say what you guys want as far as firearms content and what goes up on my channel. So let's get to loading this. So this actually holds 6 instead of the actual 7 rounds it's supposed to, because of something called stacking tolerances. Because the foreign made ammunition isn't quite on spec with the American made ammunition that you saw me shooting, which is the Winchester target loads, you can't get that 7th round of buckshot in there like you can with American made ammo. So you'll only get 6, which means you've got to go and hit the magazine release, load around in the chamber, and then you'll get 6 rounds in the tube, 1 in the chamber, giving you a total of 7. Now you can ghost load the 8 with these shells, but just for time, we're not going to do that. So in a minute, we're going to start an elapsed timer. We're going to go through every time this has a malfunction, we're going to stop the test, and we're going to talk about what malfunction this is, why the gun failed. But to give this the fair shake, I did oil it up fairly well. And being completely blunt, I do think that this, unfortunately, as cool as it is, this heat shield is probably going to fail by the end of this test. But no talking, let's get into it. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at this. This has been an issue that I've been having with this heat shield. As cool as it looks, I may end up having to take this off. I will be contacting the Amazon distributor for this shotgun heat shield and letting them know about this problem. Because of the bayonet lug up here, this heat shield does not stay in place. I have noticed it walking forward gradually as I put the rounds through it that I mentioned before. I can simply fix it by flip this on safe. It is empty, bolt is locked back. Try and walk this heat shield back into place, but it is sliding on the barrel and it is not staying in place the way it's supposed to. So we may end up actually removing that heat shield before this is all said and done. Cool aesthetic, guys. Love the way it looks on the gun, but unfortunately it's just not as functional as I really hoped it would be. I mean, at some point, maybe we may get a better heat shield for this, but if it keeps walking off like that, I'm going to just end up removing it by the time this is over.
We didn't end up having to remove the heat shield. All in all, the heat shield ended up doing its job and protecting my hands. It didn't fail to the point that it needed to be removed.
So you could see I went put that back into place. It walked forward again, just in those short amount of shells. I'm gonna leave it where it is for now, and if it ejects itself off the gun, I'm ready to have something that we'll continue testing it as is. But like I said, I kind of expect that to fail based on the way it's performed before we even started doing the test. But in all fairness, this is the way I've been showing the gun. We know the bayonet's going to stay on there. It's a full locking M4, M16 bayonet. That's got no problems on there. But let's get back to testing the actual shotgun. So one of the things that they ended up liking so much in the military about the Benelli M4 is for a 12 gauge shotgun with full power, double aught bucked, whether it's the 8 pellet or 9 pellet, the Benelli M4 ended up having a super smooth, super reliable, very quick feeding recoil system that allowed United States Armed Forces to put rounds downrange very, very quickly. Often you can outrun this yourself rather than outrun the gun. I'm going to try and run that really, really quick on this next 6 and see how fast I can dump this. Well, 7. Just like that, you're empty again. Which has been a massive selling point in magazine-fed shotguns. Unfortunately, nothing is quite as reliable as the good old-fashioned tube. How funny would it be if our heat shield actually melted? Kind of defeats the point of a heat shield, doesn't it? Already we have a nice collection of orange shells going on. So stop for a quick water break and try and make sure that this doesn't overheat too much. It's getting hot, but since unfortunately we didn't get over here till late due to having difficulties finding a range that would allow us to do this, we are doing what we can in the time that we have left safely. If this gets too hot to where I can't hold it, obviously we're going to have to stop. Hopefully we get through the majority of these rounds today, but we'll do what we can when we can, and if I have to, we'll go and shoot some more off at the house, but we're trying to get through the bulk of the ammo today. Hopefully this won't end up being a two-part video, but we'll see. Right along, guys. So far, no problems. Keep hearing Turkish build M4s are crap. Turkish build M4s can't hold up. So far, like I said, we've been running the Academy Sports Doors Monarch. In a second, after I finish this last full tube, we're going to go ahead and switch over to some birdshot just to show you guys that this thing can absolutely run both the buckshot and the birdshot. And it has done it absolutely reliably, not had any major failures to feed other than the first 4 or 5 rounds. And I think that was only 2 or 3. So let's flip this back off. Start on some birdshot. Because these are correctly sized. Why they didn't do that with the buckshot, I don't know. Something about star crimping versus roll crimping. So I have to give the shotgun a little bit of a break. We're going to go and try and clear what's left on the table. Unfortunately, guys, it's an overcast day. We didn't get as much of an early start as I kind of wanted to. We'll probably have to pick this up and have a second part to this video, meaning it isn't going to be the one take that I wanted, but no malfunctions, no issues other than the heat shield. Guns run reliably. So either this is absolutely a great buy for the money, which I believe it is, and I'm standing by that, which is why I wanted to put it through this torture test. Or every other Turkish shotgun like the Panzer needs to go back to the drawing board, get reworked, which is what I believe. So let's go and empty the rest of the table of the shells that we got here, and we'll pick back up whenever we can. I'm getting fireballs on that last one. I don't know what it is, but the last two I've noticed a fireball. But everything seems to be in perfect working order. Nothing seems to be too wrong with it other than the heat shield. And guys, we can actually see the heat shield starting to warp and come off. You can see the heat shield bending. And next time we're going to go and take a look at this shotgun, I will probably have removed the heat shield and talked to the distributor about either redesigning it or getting something else figured out. But guys, we're going to have to unfortunately pick this back up.
How many rounds you have left, by the way?
So out of the initial 500 that we started with and the 49 ones I put through it initially, we've only got 273 left. So we went through a decent chunk today, gave everybody a good look at what this gun could do, how favorably it could stand up, and I'm still putting my chips behind it. I haven't seen any major issues where this thing is showing me any signs that it is not going to make it through those other 273 rounds. I think it'll make it. A little disappointed we didn't get to do all of that in one day, but we'll come back to this later. See you guys in the next video. Sterling Belikov Outdoors, once again over here at Take Aim Training and Range. Guys, thanks to your contributions and from viewer support, we are going to be out here over the next year quite a bit at Take Aim Training and Range. You guys and the financial support you guys have provided to Belikov Outdoors have been able to go and get me out here and have me pay for a membership out here to Take Aim Training and Range, where you guys are going to see, hopefully over this next year that I'm going to be a member here, seeing lots of videos of me trying out different rifles, utilizing the full facility here, and not so much having to worry about round count, neighbors complaining, and all sorts of other stuff. So today is the 11th. The video that's going to come before this, we were out here the 4th, got through 227 rounds. We've got about, I think, 250, something like that. We're going to save the last 25 to do at the house. We're going to do another woods walk for you guys, getting the last 25 on this, but something to talk about, and I may save it till the end of the video, but we ended up having to take this apart, do a little bit of cleaning, and found some stuff, not major stuff, but no problems out of this gun. We've got 290 rounds out of this gun. We've got a total of 273, 75, something like that, left to go. Let's go ahead and get into that and get shooting. Guys, we've went, and like I said, 290 rounds through this gun. No malfunctions on it, no failures to feed, no real problems at all. And to some people, that's unbelievable from a Turkish-made clone of something even as good as the Benelli M4. The reason I love doing these kind of videos for you guys is to give you a chance to really see sometimes a bargain gun that costs a fraction can be as good as a $2,000, $3,000 gun. And that's what I'm here to prove to you guys with this 500 round review. We're going to show, I truly believe that this MAC 1014 is just as good and well built as the Benelli $2,000 version. So guys, we had to take a brief pause right there. We had another person come up to the range area that we're using. always try and be courteous and kind of the people you're sharing a range with. Somebody comes up and they don't have hearing protection, cease fire. Go ahead and wait until they get their hearing protection on. All of us love coming out here and shooting and enjoying the firearm sports, but nobody wants to go and come out to the range where you've got inconsiderate other shooters and don't wait for you to throw your ears on, because we all want to go and enjoy the outdoors and be a part of the shooting sports. Nobody wants to enjoy that being deaf. So let's try and be considerate of other people while you're out at these beautiful outdoor ranges here that we have in North Carolina or whatever state you live in. Be courteous, be kind to your other range partners. Always go and wait until everybody has the proper hearing and eye protection. Now that we got that out of the way and everybody over in our area is back with their hearing protection on, let's go ahead and continue chugging through these 12 gauge rounds and getting that round count up to where we want it. This is a phenomenal shotgun, both in price point and quality. Now, like I said before, some of the Turkish shotguns that you get and that I've held and used, they're hot garbage, guys. I'm not even going to go and say that the Turks don't get some of the reputation that they have kind of earned. Some of the guns like your TriStars, like some of the lower end Charles Daly's, Chiappas, they kind of deserve the reputation that they've been getting. However, and another gun I will throw kind of under the bus there is the Pancors. Or not the Pancors, the Panzers, my bad. Admonish me on that one. The Panzers. Panzers came into the country. Oh, this is a perfect Benelli clone. This is a perfect Benelli clone. Had all sorts of problems with parts loosening up, which is relatively reasonable. But then you had the other thing, which is, oh, it's a 100% Benelli. No, it wasn't. It wasn't even a 40 to 60% actual clone. This, however, is. This, however, is well worth your $500 to get the base model of this. To all my fellow shotgunners out there, I bet you wish we had that sleight of hand perfect Call of Duty. It would make reloading this so much easier. So since I mentioned Call of Duty, what is you guys' favorite Call of Duty shotgun? Whether it be from the Modern Warfare series, whether it is from the Black Ops series, whenever you watch this video, comment down that below and tell me, what is you guys' favorite combat shotgun that has been featured in a Call of Duty game or Battlefield game? Love to hear you guys' comments on that. Maybe, if we're lucky, with you guys' support, we might be able to find one of those and do a review on that as well. Well, unfortunately, with nothing much to aim at, we are just going to start peppering. Maybe I can stop dropping shells. That would be great. Give this a second to cool down a little bit so we're not absolutely running it stupid hard. And we'll come back after a few minutes when the barrel cools down just a little bit. All right, guys, after taking a brief intermission to rest my hands, because one thing I will say is, if you shoot a lot of shotguns, whether it's semi-automatic or pump action, you are going to notice the recoil on this. Now, this is 1,000 times better, in my opinion, than a pump action, but you still feel that recoil. So occasionally, I'm going to end up taking breaks in between. We're not doing any shooting. This isn't kind of anything to clear malfunctions. We're being as transparent as we can on this video, showing you guys this really can survive what we're putting it through. So we're going to go and get back at it onto these rounds downrange. So guys, we're going to switch it up a little bit. We have had some buckshot, mainly run buckshot on this test, so we're going to switch it up, run a little bit of super light birdshot. Now, you look at the Mac website, it says some garbage about, oh, well, our gun is designed to operate between levels of upwards of 16,000 feet per second and 1250 feet per second. Well, here to tell you guys, it's way more versatile than they give it credit for. Just like the Benelli system, it was taken from. This gun has a very nice gas system, which allows it to operate even lighter shells than it's supposed to. And I keep dropping shells on the ground. So if you go on the Mac website, like I said, it recommends no less than 1250. Blow all that range grass off of it. I think we clocked these at 1100 something feet per second. So it's well below what? 1138?
1180.
1180. So it's well below the 1250 feet per second that this gun apparently needs to be able to run properly. We're going to show that right here. You can run light stuff in this. It eats it just fine. It's almost like the gun itself is a Italian lady of the night. She handles whatever comes her way. and we're going to show that. Guys, it won't run. It won't run 1,100 feet per second shotgun. Yes, it will. Yes, it will. It will. Trust me. It just did. We've shot a couple more boxes of these. It ran all of them. She'll run just about anything you feed her. I think most people would be amazed what they find their shotgun would eat and feed reliably if they looked at their break-in periods. Guys, just like with a handgun, the shotgun has a break-in period. You need a certain set of rounds to be put through at a certain feet per second before she will run other stuff reliably. The Benellis are exactly that. All right, guys, we ended up setting up the last couple of rounds. We have about 7 full sets of 7 left, I think. It is a windy day out here at Take Aim Training and Range, and it is quite chilly at 48 degrees, but we're chugging on through it. We are going to get through the last 7 here at the range, and then we're going to go back to the home range at my place. As you guys know from the other videos, we're going to do that final thoughts and woods walk. Without any further ado, guys, and just like that, those are the last 7 of the last batch of 7 that we're going to end up going and shooting out here at the range right now. So we're going to do something that I encourage you guys to do. It's a painting, but even if you pay for a range membership, guys, always clean up. After a test like this, there's quite a bit of spent shotgun shells. Always do your part, even if you pay for your range membership, to do your best to clean up after you've been shooting. This kind of test leaves a lot of empty brass, whether it's shotgun shells or something like an AR-15 with 223 brass. Make sure you clean up your area after you get done. Always try and do your best. Clean up where you went and used. Make it better or as good as you found it. So we're going to clean up with that, and then we're going to see you guys whenever we get back to my home range. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are almost at the end of our video doing the 500 round review of my Mac 1014 Mariner, which I've named Raguel, or Raguel, however you want to pronounce it. That was a name, as I stated in the beginning of the video, that was given to me by one of my subscribers over on X. Shout out to Laughing Jackal, I believe. Really cool guy from South Africa. Those who know, those people are under an absolute amount of pressure from the South African government. Shout out to those people. I hope they go and end up in a better place than they're at, because most of them are not enjoying life over there. So with that out of the way, this gun was inspired by a role play that I had. This was a modern take and modern reinvention of your Winchester 1897 trench gun. My thought process on it was take the 1897, which was a really, really cool shotgun, pump action, heat shield, bayonet lug, but make it semi-auto and make it modern. And what better platform to do that with than the absolutely time-tested Benelli M4? Guys, I'm a lot like most of y'all. I don't have a whole lot of money. Wife had me on a budget. This ended up being an absolute banger for the money. It survived almost. Prior to today, it was up to 290. We've put 250 something rounds to it. We're about to put the last 273 rounds through it, pushing it over 500 rounds. This gun is still working, and you guys are going to see that. And I knew I was going to have some people be like, oh, well, he's shooting at dirt. He's not shooting for accuracy. So our last 28 rounds, we're going to put on some targets that are actually going to show you this gun is still holding its accuracy. So without much more talking, let's go and fire our first 4 rounds at this old water tank over here and see if we can't knock it over with the first 4 rounds. And then I'll step back a little bit and we'll see if we can't pop that spinner with the last 1 round before we go on our woods walk. And away she goes, rolling down the hill. Let's step back a little bit and see if I can't put 1 shot on that spinner. Swing and swing and swing she does. So guys, you can still see after 400 plus rounds, this shotgun is still shooting point of aim. But for all the naysayers who said, no, a Turkish shotgun can't hold up 500 plus rounds. Now it's time for us to go on a woods walk and really show this thing is holding accurate. We are going to put it on paper, and you guys are going to be able to see more. So, let you guys see the first target. Let's see if we can put a good one on center chest from right. And this one's going on the head. Alright guys, so whenever we tried to aim for the head, we got 1 pellet on target in the face. Down here on the body, you can see a lot of pellets hitting exactly where you want them. But go ahead and engage the other 2 targets down there. I'll put the casing off. See if you can't just go ahead and hit that other one. Chop that little tree. Yep, there we go. One more on that target. Here we go. Guys, these kind of I brought to you people who support our channel. We don't have any sponsors right now. We don't have any corporate overlords right now. My videos being made by people who believe in the content that I'm making, and you guys have pushed for this kind of content and these kind of videos. So thank you to everybody who donated to make this video possible. Thank you to everybody who helped get the range membership. Thank you to everybody who still goes and interacts in the comments whenever we host polls over on X at the Conservative Wolf on X, because that's where I end up doing all my voting still as to what you guys want for my next video. And after this video goes up, I will be posting a new poll as to what you guys want to see. So we'll come back. Let me check out those two targets. Oh, anyway, and see about hitting these other three. Do some quick shooting between these two targets right here. I'm going to go put two on the right, two on the left, and then switch back and forth till I'm out. One got a little bit more punishment than the other, but that small sapling over there did not fare well to the rain of buckshot that was coming its way. It doesn't look like one of our bad guy targets over there fared much better. Got a couple more rounds. Let's just have some fun with them before we end up finishing up this video. Tabletop review. Let's go. And of course we'll walk back and get pictures of all the targets and then edit those in, show you guys the accuracy that this thing has on it. But as you guys can kind of see, it's definitely putting pellets on targets from the ranges that we're shooting. But let's go ahead and move it. There's our last target, guys. Let's go ahead and give it some help. Well, I definitely say our bayonet attempt. He shoved that in there about a full inch. And the bayonet lug held. So, we got shots on the torso, shots on the head, and a bayonet through his sternum. That guy's definitely dead. I challenge anybody to live through that. So let's go back through, get pictures of these targets, and let you guys end up seeing what we have done as far as results of our shooting here at the house. Then we'll come back and do the tabletop. Guys, after all the rounds that we put through this, with the light birdshot, with the buckshot, with the other rounds I've ran through this off camera, we have 500 rounds through this now on camera for you guys to see. The total round count on the shotgun is 570 rounds. As you guys can see, this absolutely survived a 500 round torture test. This gun still works, it still operates as it was intended. So, now, going back through the stuff and how it held up. let's start on the non-driver side over here. Surefire. Still works, still operates perfectly. The Trigicon iron sights seem like they lost a little bit of paint up here on the front shield. Front shield loosened up a little bit. We're going to have to find a small wrench because the one that it came with is kaput. But other than that, these sights are holding up perfectly. Your bayonet lug slid on that last shot or bayonet charge. Whenever I stabbed that into the tree, it got hung a little bit and the bayonet moved a fraction of an inch. But guys, it's still on there, still holding tight. Bayonet didn't fail. Everything worked like it was supposed to. So night sights worked, flashlight worked, bayonet and bayonet lug worked. Everything held up on this except for one thing that we had some slight issues with. And this is one of the things that I was waiting to save to the end of the video to kind of talk about. The heat shield on here. So with bayonet lug on here, the heat shield didn't want to work with the bayonet lug. I ended up having to go move that around a little bit. During our first, 227 rounds, the heat shield kept jumping up. It kept moving forward. We ended up taking it to a gunsmith who ended up cutting the heat shield down, moving it behind the bayonet lug, and we had no problems out of it this last 270 something rounds. Didn't have a problem with it after that. Other problems that I've kind of come up with this shotgun, spoiler alert, everything is super minor. Everything is stuff that I had kind of already heard, which was, unfortunately, the Turks are not known for making good quality finishes. That's kind of the case with this. I've noticed some super minor spot rusting on it, but we live in the South. Even during the fall and summer and other months that I've had the shotgun, it's supposed to be a marine finish, which is supposed to keep it from rusting and corroding, but I've still noticed little tiny spot rusting. Hit it with a wire brush, it's fine. At some point, since this did hold up as I predicted, I will probably get this Cerakoted, and we'll end up going over all the pretty stainless areas in Ranger Green and call it a day, or OD Green for those people who actually know what that is. Only other issue that we had with this shotgun is the butt stock after that first 227 rounds loosened up. So me and Miss Skylar Wolf ended up going and taking this thing apart, really cleaning it like we're going to have to do again. But noticed that butt stock loosened up like it did. So we went and took the rubber butt pad off of this, got down in there, got the proper tools, and then tightened that up. But before we did, we blue Loctited that in there. Since then, buttstock has not moved. Buttstock has not walked out. Blue Loctite did its job and held that screw in place, keeping the stock nice and tight. That's exactly what you want to do. That's honestly something I would recommend to you guys before you start putting a whole lot of rounds to this. I would recommend going ahead, taking this rubber butt pad off, getting down in the stock, taking that screw all the way out, hit it with a good amount of blue Loctite, screw it back in there. You won't have any more problems out of this stock. Even with the telescopic butt versions of this stock, this is the fixed version of this stock. I've heard a lot about that screw walking out. I kind of already knew that might be an issue, and we did see that, but it was an easy serviceable fix. Guys, can't say any more about how much I absolutely admire this gun holding up for the money. Like I said, it takes all your Benelli parts. It costs a fraction of what Benelli costs. You're in this for $500 initially, and how much ever you want to put in, whether you want to get full-length mag tube, whether you want to throw a bayonet lug on it like I did, whether you want to put tritium night sights or flashlight. Because of this taking one-to-one Benelli parts, this can be your Barbie, guys. You don't have to spend $2,000 on a Benelli anymore to have a decent home defense tactical shotgun. you guys can do exactly what I did and get a really cool, really neat semi-auto tactical shotgun for under $500 with this Mac 1014. Now, only thing that we did notice that wasn't something that happened before is today there is a push pin in your trigger grip. This ever so slightly kept trying to walk out a little bit, about that far. Kept checking that, about how you see, only needed to push that in. That was the only new thing that ended up seeing with that. And big thing is, guys, the general person, unless you are just super involved in competitive shooting, average person is not going to put as many rounds of buckshot as I did through this gun today. Most people don't put 500 rounds of buckshot through their shotgun as long as they own it. However, that's exactly what we did with this shotgun, just to prove this is one of the best, if not the best, Turk Nelly, as they're called, clones that you guys can buy. Guys, I said from the beginning, I had my faith in the shotgun that it could survive, and as you guys can see, it did. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video, and it was informative content, educating you guys on how you can better spend your money. This has been a true firearms review from Belikov Outdoors. I'm Sterling Belikov. Hope to see you guys in the next video, which you guys get to vote on over on my X at Conservative Wolf. Hope to see you guys there. Have a blessed day.